Start the call tells the story of Si-woyan, who receives a mysterious call from a woman when she just moves house. The caller figure named Young-suk turns out to be a person who lives in the same house, but 20 years ago. This communication that can be said across time also changes the lives of the two women forever. Whether you just saw this movie for the first time or you still don't quite understand the ending after dozens of rewatches, we're here to help you. This should go without saying, but spoilers for the entirety movie are ahead. So here's story of the call.
여보세요?
네 말이 맞아. 엄마 진짜 미친년이야. 나 집에 완전히 갇혔어.
Start the call opens with Sayan, who has just moved into an old house in 2019. After that, she receives a mysterious call from a woman who she initially thought was the wrong number. However, after reading a diary left in the house, Sayan realizes that the caller is a woman named Young-suk who lived in the same place 20 years ago, precisely in 1999. That night, Sayan finds a box in the basement and finds a diary written in 1999. The next day, Sayan reads the contents of Young-suk's diary and she finds out that the home address she said is her own home address exists in the same space and different time zones.
그 집 주소가 정말 보성읍 0.4번지 맞나요?
Sayan gives a notice of the landing accident to Young-suk, who wants to hang up the phone in surprise, and Young-suk believes Sayan's words after confirming the accident with the news while eating. The two of them are of the same age and have intimacy, and they quickly become close. On November 21, 1999, the young Sayan family came to see the house where Young-suk lives to move. Young-suk is an orphan and lives with his adoptive mother, who is a shaman. Meanwhile, Sayan loses her father in a fire caused by her mother. Young-suk came up with a good idea after seeing her young Sayan, so she called Sayan in 2019 to get information to save her father from the fire. Young-suk sneaks out of the house to prevent the fire that killed Sayan's father. Young-suk managed to stop the fire just before smoking the moment. Instantly, the area around Sayan changes. Sayan's burns on leg also disappeared. You can see a stunning butterfly effect. Surprised, Sayan go out and see a healthy mother and a living father in the garden outside. Sayan feels grateful for Young-suk.
야, 개구리. 밖에 추워.
However, as she spends a happy time with her family, Sayan doesn't pick up Young-suk's calls often. This makes Young-suk angry and even more possessive. One day, Young-suk calls Sayan and some strange happen on call. Young-suk is caught on the phone by his mother and is punished, beaten and tortured. Young-suk's mother take over the phone and warns Sayan to stop communicating with Young-suk if she doesn't want to get hurt.
너 누구야? 너 누군데 영숙이랑 통화하고 있는 거니? 다신 영숙이랑 전화하지 마라.
Young-suk tied him up and given an exorcism ritual by his mother in the basement of the house. This mother saw a vision of a future where there she saw Young-suk had done barbaric deeds. Meanwhile, Sayan searched to find the current Young-suk and he found an article on a newspaper website about an incident that took place in 1999. Young-suk's mother was charged with the alleged murder of her child during her exorcism process. Sayan now knows that Young-suk will die that day. Sayan calls Young-suk and tells her all stories her to that fact out of her death.
오늘 밤
너가 죽는 것 같아.
Young-suk stabbed her mother with a knife and casually calls Sayan after that and say she'd just have misunderstanding with her mother. At that time, Young-suk goes out freely out of her mother's control. In 2019, Sungo, the owner of Strawberry Farm, visits Sayan's house. Sungo shows up to deliver strawberries. He opens the fridge to find chopped up bits of the stepmother. Young-suk, seeing no other option, kills Sungo. She is with Sungo eating strawberries and stains her coat. As she goes upstairs, the stain disappears. When she comes back down, she is surprised to know that her parents don't even know Sungo. Saein went down to the living room. She asks about where is Sungo, but her parent doesn't recognize Sungo. Doubt if her parent answers, Saein run to farm and police station, where only trace of the past disappeared. She finds out that Young-suk was eventually arrested for both murders, Sungo and the stepmother. Start on a call later with Young-suk.
너가 그랬어?
무기징역?
Saein makes the mistake of mentioning that Young-suk, who has become a serial killer, spends the rest of her life in jail. Young-suk begins to threaten Saein and gradually reveals her true colors. Young-suk was the overnight call, but Saein never pick up her phone. Saein refuses to say how Young-suk was traced back to the murders. Unfortunately, in the past, young Saein and her father show up at Young-suk's house asking about the home transfer that was supposed to happen. Young-suk ideas emerged as let them into the house, the current Saein and her dad driving while practicing. Young-suk of the past attacks Saein's dad, and Saein's experiences her father and the car disintegrate into nothingness. Young-suk kills Saein's father and takes the little girl hostage. Saein heads back to the house. A change of fate, her house in a barren state with the words "pick up the phone" on the floor written by Young-suk. On a subsequent phone call, Young-suk demands how the police got to her. After thinking about it, Saein searches for accidents happening on today's date in the past and makes a plan to destroy Young-suk. Saein comes up with a plan to kill off Young-suk. She locates a storehouse which exploded at 5 p.m. on the day of her conversation with Young-suk in the 90s. Saein tells Young-suk that a junk collector found the knife she murdered her stepmother with, and he would be available at 5 p.m. at the storehouse. While this is a good plan, and Young-suk does land up at the storehouse, she steps outside because she hears dogs. Young-suk escapes death as the storehouse explodes before she walks back in. Young-suk returns home and tortures young Saein as punishment by pouring hot water on her body. In 2019, Saein's consciousness as her body develops scars from the hot water. Not knowing what else to do, Saein gives away the location of the murder weapon. Young-suk shows up and kills the junk collector and burns the knife. This stops the event of the cops tracing the murder weapon back to Young-suk, and she is not arrested. We also have this timeline establishing that Young-suk goes on to become a full-blown serial killer, and the house is filled with refrigerators which store the mutilated bodies of the dead. Young-suk grows old in this house and eventually is able to use the phone to advise her younger self to stay clear from being connected to any of the murders. Saein in the midst of many refrigerators, and in 2019 timeline, older Young-suk lives in this house. At that time, in the past, Saein's mother came to Young-suk's house with the police, and her mother tried to call her husband on the house phone and heard Saein's voice. Saein talks to her mother, trying to save her life. Saein's mother falls over with Young-suk when she trying to save young Saein in the past. While the mother survives, Young-suk dies. In the future, Saein finds that the old Young-suk who was moments away from killing her doesn't exist, and the house has gone back to being deserted. Her consciousness has now. There are no refrigerators, which means Young-suk never began her killing spree. Saein meets her mother at her dad's grave, and the two of them walk away happily. But
일이 잘못돼도 전화기는 끝까지 가지고 있어. 그래야 다시 바꿀 수 있으니까.
thanks to the warning Young-suk has received from her older self, she takes corrective actions to ensure that she survives the fall. While not shown in the movie, Young-suk appears to have recovered and later found and killed Saein's mother. This is why the mother disappears as the two of them are walking away.
세상에 손찬 것 봐.
There is nothing more Sayan can do to endanger Young-suk's path of mass murder. Start in the ending of the call, we come to realize that the shaman lady, Young-suk's stepmother, was right about the deaths that Young-suk will cause. She tries to avert it by killing her. But fate had it designed such that a phone call to the future allows for Young-suk to escape death time and over and unleash her darkness. The Call is a 2020 Korean thriller featuring elements of time travel. Rather than viewing the film as science fiction, it's best watched as a fantasy thriller. Young-suk has also kidnapped Sayan and retained her as a hostage in the house's basement. We still have plenty movie like this. Click this link to watch Gone Girl movie plot summary. This movie winning Best Adapted Screenplay, Gillian Flynn in Awards Circuit Community Awards 2014. While you at it, hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe. You might even want to hit that bell, and you will get notified every new video comes out. Alright, I will see you soon on the next video. Later.